Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go, this is Valley News Live at 5.
More changes will likely soon be coming to students in the Fargo public school system. A week from today, elementary students will head back to the classroom 4 days a week. Both middle and high school students will continue in the hybrid model for the next 2 weeks. But Valley News Team's Bailey Hurley sheds new light on when secondary students can expect a change.
While Cass County's COVID-19 risk level remains in orange, Fargo-Cass public health officials say they haven't seen a lot of virus transmission between classmates.
Where I'm seeing transmission is in those group settings when people are going to weddings, people are going to social gatherings with friends.
As of last Friday, FPS says they had 12 students currently out with positive tests, while 161 students were out due to being deemed close contacts. And officials say most of those are elementary students.
The reason for that is it's a lot harder to keep track of student close contacts in the elementary schools because they are moving around a lot more.
Only 3 members voted to bring middle school students back full-time starting November 2nd.
And when I look at education, I see it as a lifeline for many of our students. If we don't bring them back, we are doing a disservice to those kids.
With the rest saying while they're on board with going back full-time, there's still some work to be done before pulling the trigger.
The biggest challenge for this has been receiving information that our staff are safest in the school buildings, but then our staff see what's happening in the community and feel unsupported, and that's not fair to any of our teachers.
We are struggling. When you say 65 to 70% of our paras are not going covered, that's huge.
School officials have previously stated parents would get a 2-week notice of any learning changes, meaning the earliest students could be phased back in would be November 16th. However, FPS says the committee could vote for a shorter timeline if necessary. In Fargo, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Fargo-Cass Public Health says it's too early to tell if Fargo Public's distance learning weeks had an impact on Cass County's transmission levels, but say that data will be available and taken into consideration at the November 2nd meeting. Not 1, not 2, but 4 rounds of snow could be headed for us this week. We head straight to Hutch for what's happening tonight.
Stacy, thanks so much. This evening we've had a few flurries and they continue here in the Southern Valley, but most of this evening's activity has spread out toward the Twin Cities. So isolated flakes in the south, but tomorrow another round of snow, and we have declared it a first alert weather day because it will impact your drive. Now the impact will be greatest for the evening commute and a very widespread area where is expected. Fargo, Devils Lake, Valley City, and all the way out to Detroit Lakes, but isolated areas in the Lakes country could see 3 to 5 inches of snow. So not ridiculous amounts of snowfall there, Stacy, but certainly it will be most impactful for our evening commute, and that is why it's a first alert weather day. Get out and enjoy your evening. Temperatures in the 20s for most of it. Some clouds and a few flakes of snow are going to be possible. And by the way, note this, another first alert weather day called for Thursday. A more significant, windier and snowier system works its way through. I'll have hour-by-hour details on what you can expect, but again, a wintry week ahead. Cold, snow, wind, you name it. Might be time to tune up the snow blower.
All right, thanks so much, Hutch. Well, charges are now being filed against a man who police say is responsible for a drive-by shooting in Moorhead. 20-year-old Timondarius Hayes is charged with 3 counts of felony attempted murder and using a dangerous weapon. Officers were called to the 900 block of 23rd Avenue South just after 5:30 Friday evening for a shooting and found a male victim with a gunshot wound to his lower left leg. The victim told officers he was shot by Hayes while in his vehicle. He had surgery for non-life-threatening injuries. Hayes was arrested Saturday after officers searched a Fargo home and found a rifle, handgun, and ammunition. The Cass County Sheriff's Office is asking for help finding the person or people who broke into 3 homes on Lost River Road in Horace. It happened the middle of last week between October 14th and 15th. It appears one suspect has a significant cut to one or both of their hands and may have been traveling on a bicycle. You're asked to contact Detective Greg Smith, 701-241-5884, if you have any information. Moorhead police are now identifying a man involved in a suspicious death investigation as 37-year-old Lee Folden. Officers responded to a domestic disturbance call just before 3 a.m. yesterday. They found Folden trapped under a vehicle in the driveway. He was declared dead on the scene. Police say no one is currently in custody and no one is being sought after. Well, political ads are everywhere during an election year. You can't avoid them. And we get a lot of viewer questions about this topic. Valley News Team's Washington Bureau Chief Jacqueline Policastro gets answers to some of them in this Guide to Political Advertising.
Broadcast TV stations rely on advertising to make money. Politicians buy ad time to help them reach voters. And the Federal Communications Commission makes the rules.
On border security,
you will see two types of political ads running on TV stations: candidate ads and issue ads.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Candidate ads are purchased directly by the candidate or their authorized campaign committee.
We urge her expeditious confirmation.
Issue ads come from an individual, corporation, or political action committee, not associated with a campaign. Joan Stewart is a lawyer specializing in FCC rules. We asked her, do TV stations have to run issue and candidate ads?
The stations have no obligation to air issue advertising. Candidate ads, it depends on the type of candidate. Stations are legally obligated to give what's called reasonable access to federal candidates.
That means candidates running for president, vice president, U.S. House, and U.S. Senate, not state and local races. So if TV stations run an ad for one candidate, do they have to run ads for the competitors too?
Anytime you have a legally qualified candidate, any candidate, right? So federal, state, local, if you sell them time, if they appear on the station, then the opposing candidate has the right to come in and ask for what's called equal time.
The candidates have 7 days to request equal time. And what about the content? Can TV stations censor ads for graphic elements or false claims?
Stations do not have the right to edit or censor a candidate ad. Issue ads are a different animal. Stations can refuse to air issue ads.
Our TV station is required to keep detailed files on all the political ads we run. And those files are available to view online through our website. In the Washington News Bureau, I'm Jacqueline Policastro.
And for more information on this, just head over to our VNL News app. Well, there's been a heavy turnout in Cass County today as voters get a jump on early voting before the November 3rd election. After months of bitter and political campaigning, those living in Cass County are eager for the finish line within the next month's election.
I haven't trusted our government for a long time, and I want to make a change. I want to see if I can make it better.
I just think because people want to be heard, they're tired of all the stuff that they're not fixing this country, so I think a lot of people are going to come out.
For a full list of voting locations across the metro, just head over to our VNL News app. Well, for the first time since the pandemic, more than 1 million people were screened at TSA checkpoints yesterday. The number of people screened is still 60% lower than 1 year ago. The lowest number of people screened during the pandemic was roughly 87,000 back in April. Americans wanting to head north of the U.S. border won't be able to do so for quite a bit longer. Canada's Public Safety Minister Bill Blair tweeted today that COVID-19 travel restrictions will remain in place at the U.S.-Canadian border until at least November 21st. Blair left open the possibility that it could be further extended to keep Canadians safe. Well, coming up, Apple's new iPhone already selling out. How to get your hands on one.
First Alert Weather Day is for Tuesday and again on Thursday. Hour by hour details coming up right after this.